Hi, guys. Welcome to a very special episode of the Artist Chief podcast and YouTube channel. I'm your host, Corey, and alongside me, I've got the Brits. The British have invaded. We've got Shelly from the UK. We've got Chris from the UK. We've got Brad from the UK. What's up, guys?
Hi, Corey.
How are you?
Corey?
Good.
Corey.
Hey.
What up, Corey? What's going on? Staying hydrated here.
You need that. That's
It's
right.
nice
Like
of you
Bradley.
to. It's nice of you to accommodate our invasion. It's good. It's nice we got a bit of a platform into America through you. I think.
Yeah, cheers. Facilitator.
I'm a grateful. Okay. God save the king.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're teaching you right. We're teaching you right.
Brad, before we start on anything, I wanted to give you, in particular, my review of Top Gun Maverick.
No.
It was amazing! Oh my God! It was the best movie I've ever seen. What the hell is wrong with me? Why didn't I go see it in like IMAX or something? I mean,
Is that
brilliant.
not pushing it? Best movie you've ever seen?
I mean,
well, no, Top Gun. The original is the best movie ever.
There was a bit of that.
So,
see, I think the big difference for me is I didn't find Maverick that likable in the first movie, especially watching it nowadays. You know, he's just like this punk, brash American, just real cocky. You know, he doesn't take no from a woman. You know, and just I don't know. I never really felt it. Like I watched it as a kid maybe like 5 times, and that's like watching it once as an adult. You know, as a kid, I'd watch Back to the Future like 75 times. But I mean, I could do an entire hour on Top Gun Maverick. Just the stakes just constantly getting higher as the movie goes along. Like, is this person going to die? Is this person going to die? Are they going to make it? Is this even possible? Like, it was great. Just great.
yeah. No, I have a lot of kind of feeling towards Top Gun. I used to watch it over and over and over again when I was a kid.
For the volleyball scene, mostly.
Yeah, well, yeah. And when they said they were doing a sequel, I was like, "Oh, don't! You'll just ruin it. You'll just ruin it." And that was my only fear. I thought they're going to ruin the whole thing, and they really didn't. They actually really kind of played it as though it was like a new movie, but also there was a few nice little nods to the previous cast and the previous kind of story as well, which was really nice. So I actually had a tear watching it in the cinema. Because it felt like watching an old friend. It was weird. It was like, oh my God, he's back, you know, my hero kind of thing, Maverick. So,
I get.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that, Shelly.
Jelly's like, Top Gun, what's that?
Pistol reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
So we threw out a mailbag on Twitter recently, and we're going to answer your questions, guys. You guys ready for this?
Yeah, man, bring it on. Come on, let's
A
go.
little apprehensive, but yeah, let's go for it.
Whoever, I mean, we'll take turns, whatever you want to do. Okay. At Steve Crum 1, Steve Crum.
Hey, Steve.
Does anyone over there give you a hard time about being such a fan of American football? Are you also a soccer fan?
I mean, I feel like I get it double because yes, I do get a hard time for being an American football fan, but I also get the whole women can't like sports at all. You know, so being an American football fan is something very strange to people in this country, but also being a woman who is so obsessed with this sport. You know, I kind of get that as well. So it's a little bit of an uphill battle sometimes. I'm not a massive fan of soccer. My husband supports Tottenham Hotspur. My dad supports Sunderland.
What?
So I've had,
Oh,
sorry, I'm so sorry. I knew as soon as I said that. I know he's not from Sunderland. I just wanted to put that out there. And we live in Leicester, so you know we are surrounded by soccer. But really, the only thing that I would ever massively say that I follow is England. And of course, we've got the USA in our group in the World Cup starting very shortly. So dramatic times.
Good on.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Whatever your generic betting sites are. Get you still on there. Let's have a little wager. Let's have a little bit of a Brit versus the Yanks.
Put your money where your mouth is, Yanks.
Yeah, I'll bring it on.
Bro, no thanks. I'm out on that one. There's
we'll give you a 1-goal head start. You know?
It's this one right back here.
No, I'm a Newcastle United fan. Have been for since what, 87, something like that. Anyway.
He's just reading it off his shirt, isn't he? That's what he's on 87.
Yeah. I'm going to script here. I'm just reading it. Corey sent me his script before. So
I'm seeing 87 in the mirror. Yeah, 87.
Brad.
Oh yeah, got that on. Yeah.
I don't know whether to tell you or not that was the year that I was born.
Oh God, yeah. She's definitely never heard of Top Gun. But yeah, I mean, I think nowadays I watch NFL a lot more. And I think looking around, obviously from where I live and where Chris lives, Chris literally lives just down the road from me.
True.
So seeing fellow NFL fans, whichever team, you kind of give a bit of a knowing nod whenever you see them. There's more and more now, isn't there, Chris? There's more and more. We see them, obviously in Newcastle and Durham and places like that where, the kind of bigger cities.
Bengals fan yesterday.
Yeah, Bengals fans. Yeah.
Staring him down.
Yeah, staring him
wearing
down,
that thing. It might be a trade museum, but you can get that thing off.
But I mean, you guys will have seen from the international series game in London. There's a lot of UK fans now, and it's even harder to get tickets to actually go to those games now. Well, probably not the Broncos versus the Jags. It was dead easy to get tickets, but.
Yeah, how much did they pay you to go to that, Brad? Was it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was dragged down there, kicking and screaming.
If you're not going to go, we'll drag your kids from school. All right, then.
Oh, go on then. So, yeah, it is. And it's good when you go to the international series games because everybody really kind of reps their team, which is really good. It's a good atmosphere. Everyone's celebrating American football. And it's just great. It's just it does feel a bit more acceptable. Probably not at work. I think like what Shelley was saying. Probably people who like close family probably don't even know. I mean, my wife doesn't understand it at all. She doesn't get why I like the Chiefs. She doesn't get why I like an American sport. But it's come kind of part of your life. I think Shelley and Chris will say the same thing. It becomes you kind of drawn towards it, and you're just smothered by it because you just want to get more and more of it each time. It's great sport. You guys know how to put on an event and put on a sports show for sure.
Yeah, I think just latterly, just to add to or a little bit more to that, I would say for me, I don't really have anybody saying kind of having a bit of a hard time with people saying what you're watching that kind of thing for, but I find it quite amusing that some people they talk to you about it and the only thing I remember about American football is Walter Payton. And I thought, okay, yeah. moved on a little bit since then, it's in the fridge, that's all good and well, but it's we don't have the London Monarchs anymore. We're not talking about those guys. It's actually a really good sport, brilliant spectacle. It's exciting. Yeah, it might be very stop-start, but I tell you what, those 3 hours, they go so quickly. It's not like 3 hours whatsoever, is it? You watch them and you think, where did that first quarter go? It's half time already, and it's an hour and a half past. So yeah, it's absolutely great. But quite funnily, yesterday I had a top on actually, the Mahomes top jersey, and some bloke was stood behind me and he was looking at it, trying to read it. And I could hear him say "cojones." Look, dude, it might be something that's far from cojones. It's Mahomes. So you get some people that just really don't understand it, and I think some people just get a bit ignorant and don't want to understand it. I think I cannot speak for us all, where I say when we go on holiday abroad somewhere, the Brits are a little bit ignorant. We expect everybody to speak our language, and we kind of, you get people come from France, from Italy, all over Europe to the UK and stuff, and they speak English. So we're a little bit kind of ignorant about other people's cultures and sports and things. I think it's just the natural way of being a Brit. But yeah, if you are passionate about it, it's something that you give your all to. And that, if I'm not watching it, I'm reading about it, I'm studying it, I'm evaluating prospects, I'm doing all kinds. I'm watching college ball. We're talking about it, the WhatsApp group. It never stops. It pings daily, pretty much hourly. So yeah, it becomes your life. It does become your life. And I very much don't watch soccer as much now. I used to love it. I had a season ticket for Middlesbrough for 13 seasons. So sorry, Shelley and Brad, Sunderland, Newcastle. Forget it. So yeah, and I've been over Europe to see them as well. So it's something that I was really passionate about, but it's kind of flipped now, and my passion's American football, or football to you guys, not soccer.
Right on. Okay. Let's see here. Where did we leave off? Winter is coming at old man, a bunch of numbers. 349. Oh, he knows
his cell phone number, is it?
Is it phone number? Try it, dial it up. Yeah.
Let's have a look.
5555.
Generic.
Do you all think Mahomes is not as mobile this year, and if so, why? I feel he should run more.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot been said since that, because I think we were so used to him running around from when we saw him from 2018. He was just literally running around, just trying to wing it. I think that was clear from what he said the following year when he was like, "I'm only just starting to learn defenses," and you're like, "Think what, really after that season?" But I think Mahomes is almost kind of trying to improve his pocket presence a little bit more, with just staying in the pocket a bit more and not being easily flushed out too much, because teams are expecting it a lot more now. Teams are expecting Mahomes to just really kind of like, the play's broken down. First read's gone. I'm just going to scramble out and just kind of wing it that way. But I think now you can see him, especially when he's lost Tyreek Hill now. He's lost that main read. And I'm not saying he was the only read, because obviously you've got Kelsey there as well. But I think it was always very tempting for Mahomes to call up the wasp play, the goal routes, and call up the Tyreek Hill routes to get the team out of trouble. And I think it's been good in a way, because we've got a lot more kind of spread of wide receiving kind of talent now, that's forced Mahomes to really kind of evaluate how he plays and just think, right, if I want to survive longer in this game, I'm going to have to start working on my reads, my pocket presence, and not being easily spooked.
Yeah, I think just adding to that, he did say that he needs to kind of be a little bit more mobile at times, but within the pocket, he understands that his pocket presence needs to improve. He was very easy at the amount of times that he would drop back. I can't recall what his drop back percentage was last year, but it was quite high. It's high among any NFL quarterback, for any NFL quarterback. But he was effective at doing it, and I think it was all he kind of knew at first. But now that he's kind of he's becoming a little bit more of a pocket passer, but I don't want him to be too much of a pocket passer and to lose too much of that. I mean, I've just had a quick look at his this season so far rushing. He's got 113 yards at the moment, averaging 5.4 yards a carry, I think it is. Yeah. Last season and the season before, it was 5.8 and 5 yards a carry for 381 and 308 yards. So he's pretty much on. He's not far off. He's pretty much on pace for about another 300-yard season. So it might look as though he's rushing a little bit less. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. Who knows? But it doesn't look as though it does to me. I think it's about what I expect. It's what they expect. I wouldn't.
I think there's a level of maturity on him now, I think, as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
It seems to be about him anyway. He seems to be handling it more.
That's what I was going to say, Brad. It seems to be like, as he is getting more experienced and older, he just seems to be kind of surveying his kingdom a little bit more and taking that time and being patient rather than scrambling but when he does rush, when he has to scramble, when he has to escape, we saw that amazing Mahomes, like that little magic turn that he does to escape being tackled. I think he's developing his style of play, and okay, maybe he's not as mobile, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think it's good to see, he's keeping everybody else on their toes, and it's almost what we would expect him to do, he's not doing. He's got other ideas. So I think it's certainly looking different, but I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah. Have anything to add? You guys nailed that one. I mean, really. Seriously, I mean,
the first time in it, you know.
I don't. I do think, like Shelley said, I think he's just learning. You know, he's just improving as a quarterback.
He's not shy to. He's not shy to admit that either. Though that's what I like about Mahomes. I think he's quite open with the fact that he feels like he's still a student of the game. It's weird. It's
that's what the great do, though. The great ones study. They're on there, last one to leave, all that kind of good stuff. All right, Internet Help Desk at Baileyborn2. How often do you have to clarify that you're talking about American football with your English friends, or do you call it something else when you're speaking to non-NFL fans?
So I'll take this one first this time. Then, if
you do it,
every single time I find that unless I say and stipulate American football, anybody else is just kind of glassy-eyed to it. It's just they don't understand. They wouldn't know. Even sometimes when you say American football and they start talking, I've had somebody talk to me before. I've started talking about American football. They started going on about soccer. I said, "Do you even listen to what I said?" Like, no, I'm not talking about soccer. We're talking about American football. So, you know, where they throw the ball, they don't kick it along the ground, unless they're an average player or a rubbish player. So sometimes it's a play call. Yeah, so the amount of times I have to say to people, I'm not talking about soccer, I'm talking about... And I feel bad saying soccer. I get ribbed by some friends, pals that say, if you call it soccer again, I'm just really annoyed. I thought, what else can I say? I'm talking to an audience here, which that are kind of the multinational. I'm not talking to just British people. I'm not talking to just American people. So I've got to stipulate for some people to be obvious that we're talking about American football and soccer, because both American fans, British fans, they all know clearly what American football is, and we all know, as much as the English fans don't like it, what soccer is. So if you say football, you can't just say that. They'll automatically assume you're talking about soccer. So that's what I find.
It's like the Chris thing. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? I mean, it's not like you're going, "Hey, man, did you see Newcastle make that first down last week?" I mean,
do you know, we do actually get some. I don't know if you find that as well, but we do actually get some abuse when you say you enter American football and you get somebody who's a bit of a smart aleck who'll say, it's just rugby but with pads on, or they'll call it egg ball or something.
They're not as tough as rugby players,
why did they call it football when they use the hands? And you hear it all the time. You're just like, whatever. You've heard it that often now. You just like, you just laugh it off. But I think once you start introducing new fans to the game, I mean, we took somebody down with us to Wembley a few years ago now, and he had no idea. I said, "Look, you can come down, have a look at the game." I think it was Jags versus Colts. I think it was at the game. And he says, "Can I drink beer at my seat?" I went, "Yes." He says, "Right, I'm there." So we took him, and he loved it. He loved it, absolutely loved it, and he's really into it now. So I think a lot of the time we feel responsible that we've got to educate people on our love for the game and see if they like it as well. I mean, not force it on them. We're not like knocking on the doors and have you watched American football? We don't do that, but you do feel as though you have to educate some people sometimes, because they do you hear the same old thing over and over again about egg ball, and it's not football. It's all the time.
Yeah, exactly what you said, Brad. I honestly, every time I talk about American football, I have to say American football, even to the people that know me best, and they know what I'm talking about. They know why I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, what we watching? Oh, American football or NFL every time. But yeah, we soft boys rugby, hand egg, honestly, or everybody. So even people that haven't watched it before, everybody's got a criticism. So when they're saying things, and I'm like, "Have you ever watched a game?" "Oh no, it's just stop-start, nothing happens." And it's like, everybody's got an opinion on American football, despite the fact that half of the people that are criticizing it have never even watched a game. So I absolutely just take it with a pinch of salt and go, "Yeah, okay, good chat." Constant criticism.
It is one of the few sports where, like soccer or football, football or hockey, you know, it's constant movement. It's just constant. There's no timeouts. There's no you know, checking for whatever, you know, just a lot of TV timeouts, whatever. Slow down in action, if you will. So I could see how maybe that might not interest some folks over there, I suppose. Let's see. Jordan Scarron, the guy who thinks he's the king of the birds of war, and he's not. I'm the king of the birds. This guy Jordan, I mean, he just keeps he's on me all the time, man. Like flies on stink. He asked, if you lived in the same neighborhood as Patrick Mahomes and see his family trick or treating, how do you handle yourself?
Go on, Shelley.
I would die. I would just stop living. I saw this on Twitter and I saw all the pictures. And you know, somebody put like, oh, can you imagine seeing Patrick Mahomes? Honestly, I would just fangirl so hard. I'm not even sorry. You know, I think they are lovely. I would just take all the sweets that I had and just put them in Sterling's trick or treat bucket. She can have everything. Yeah.
Here's the kitchen sink. Here's the TV.
Have everything.
Please use my toilet. I'll never flush this again.
Don't use that toilet. Don't use it ever again.
Exactly. Oh God! I tell you, I mean, the first thing I think it'd have to be, you're probably just looking up at him, literally, in admiration, because you know he's a tall guy. But I'd just take the opportunity. Like, I don't know, I talk a lot. I ask a lot of questions. I think he'd probably get sick and would think, you know what? I'm kind
We're not going back to that house.
Yeah, that definitely. I would. It'd be question, and it'd be kind of pictures, autographs, the lot, and then, oh yeah, don't forget your sweet. Sorry, you're the reason you came. Here you go. A bucket of candy. Come on, I say we'll go to the next house. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, it might be a breakfast on the go. So yeah, I'd probably try and spend all that time asking a lot of questions about it. But certainly, I think the initial stage of being starstruck would come to the fore. But after that, wouldn't stop me talking.
I think I'd be like that. Ewan McGregor meme, you know, when he says he was having a go at somebody in a traffic jam once, and they wound down the window, and they were like, "That's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi." I think if I open the door, I'd be like, "That's fucking Patrick Mahomes."
Sorry that you've got your child with you.
Yeah, I'd be like stood there, just like, yeah, it'd be a bit surreal. So, I mean, imagine seeing him in America, but over here, imagine him trick or treating over here. You know, in America, in the UK, it'd be. Yeah, crazy.
Nobody knew who he is, though, would they? I mean, you'd have they wouldn't be knocking him. They go, "Oh, isn't she cute?" And be following him round and be thinking, "What's this guy doing, following this fella around the neighborhood?" Do you not know who he is?
Well, actually, Corey will know this. I actually blanked him in the tunnel at Arrowhead. True story. Right. So I feel as though I have to give him some love if I ever met him again.
Can you draw a massive D on your head? By the way, I mean the letter D. Just to clarify for anybody, I'm not talking about the D or anything. Stick a dunce hat on. What the hell?
I know, I did. It's because I was too busy helping bring the flag off the field. And it was the first year we had him, and he was obviously on the bench. And yeah, I was walking up the tunnel, and I was pulling the flag over my shoulder kind of thing, pulling it, because I was the first one off the field with it. And they said I had to direct it around. So anyway, as I was walking past, everyone was like this. And Patrick Mahomes was there, and I just, completely blanked him. But I always kind of, think that that's probably why he's playing the way he is, and the way he's like, he's playing such a legendary player that he feels as though he has to prove himself. So I actually at least glance at him next time.
Brad Simcox will notice me the next time he comes to our
For sure.
How did you feel about your career, Patrick? You've made it to Canton. No, what would you say was the greatest highlight? The thing for me that kickstarted my career was that Brad Simcox, the Brit Chief, did not speak to me when he came off the field when I was on the bench. I had to set out to prove
that's
to
why
that
I'm
guy.
in Canton today.
It's all because of Brad Simcox. Get that guy an Emmy. Another one.
Oh my God. I'm dead. If I saw him, I would just start crying, and I would hope that I could build up the courage to stand back up off the ground, because I'm going to collapse. I mean, I'm practically old enough to be his father, and I would be so just embarrassed by that fact alone. I've met a few players in my days, and
you've given him one of your paintings. He should know you.
Well, yeah, exactly. You should say, all right, Patrick, you're back again.
I know, but I'm saying, like, I'm not that starstruck at times. Like, I met Chris Jones, I met Dante Hall. I'm forgetting someone else, but he's like the only celebrity outside of maybe, like, I don't know, some Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or somebody, that if I saw him, I would literally freak out. I don't know.
A bit of a difference in height between Tom Cruise and Patrick Mahomes, man.
Bit of a.
You would be looking up at the door. You'd be looking down at him.
I mean, I'm 6'1" and 240. I mean, I'd still be like looking up at him like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, my good buddy Arrowhead Tom from the Kingdom Says podcast. Make sure and listen to them. In fact, they put out an episode today interviewing Joe Scardino, who's an amazing artist. Make sure to check out him on Twitter as well. He says, who will the Chiefs' #1 wide receiver be in 2023? I've got no idea. I'm going to leave it to you guys.
Ooh, I'm going to go Sky Moore. I was going to go Justin Ross, but I'm going to go Sky Moore, I think. I like the look of him. He's crap on punt returns, but I like the fact that he's got huge hands. I like what I've seen so far from him, from the brief times we've seen him as lined up as a wide receiver. But I think I'll plug with Sky Moore, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Sky Moore. I think he's got so much potential. I think that the mistakes that he's made this season, he's taken really seriously. And my heart breaks for him because he just looks so like he's got the world on his shoulders when he does something wrong. But, he's a rookie. He's got a lot of potential. He's making those mistakes. He is, of course, then making, doing really well in other aspects. So I think that he has got loads of potential. He will do really well. And I think we're going to see really big things from him. So I definitely agree with you, Brad.
Good.
Just read the question again, please, Corey.
Who will the Chiefs have as their #1 wide receiver next year?
So he specifically said wide receiver, because I was going to say I would take a little bit of a different tack, and I would say that the #1 receiver will be and always has been Travis Kelce.
DK.
That's going to be the case. So, yeah, technicality on my part. If you're specifying wide receiver, I'm going to say that we will bring back Juju, and it will be Juju.
Ooh,
I
Juju.
think that he'll be the #1 wide receiver. I think I don't think that Hardman and MVS will come back, and I think you're then looking at potentially another draft pick, or the other receivers being who you've got in Sky Moore, potentially Justin Ross, and whether Cornell Powell makes it. But I think the only consistent wide receiver you've got there, or somebody that you would be confident enough to go to straight away, would be Juju. You would like to think and hope that Sky Moore, as you guys said, would kind of break out next season. Needs a little bit of time to kind of develop, understand the playbook a bit more. But yeah, I think I would say Juju is a wide receiver.
Is MVS, is he on a 1-year deal?
3, but he's got an option of an out at the end of this year. If we don't like it, we can say, right, sorry, but didn't work. But yeah, it's 3-year deal with that option at the end of this season. I don't think they'll exercise that. I think they'll go.
Brad,
nobody's mentioned Tooney.
Tony?
Tony.
Tony. You said Tooney. That guy ain't receiving anything.
Do you know why? Do you know why? I'm sure was there an England player called Tooney? There's an women's
Rooney.
England player called Tooney, isn't there? No, not Rooney. Tooney. The England women's player called Tooney, I'm sure it is.
Something like that.
Laura Tooney or something like that.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. That's why I'm probably calling him Tooney.
He's starting tonight, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. He'll be involved.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that he's probably going to end up being the most memed Chiefs player of all time?
Yes.
That face, isn't it? The wide-eyed
face. Oh, I love it. Yeah, his face. Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
But that video was amazing. Oh, I just loved him so much.
Yeah.
Okay,
he looks really wired to get to be in Kansas City. I think he's really relishing the idea of actually playing with this team. And I mean, you win the lottery when you said, I mean, surely the Giants, when they said, "Oh, the Chiefs are in for you," you know, they're going to trade for you. But like, get me over there. I've got Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. Get me there now. Yeah. Print money.
License to, innit?
Yeah. Jordan asked another question. He said, assuming that Brittany Mahomes is carrying Patrick Mahomes III currently, do you think that they will have more kids after this? If so, what names do you think the couple would pick? If you could suggest names, what would you suggest? Maybe they have another boy, and it's not going to be Patrick Mahomes 4. I mean, it's going to, you know what I'm saying? So if they have some other kids, what do you think? What would you name them? What would you suggest?
I would say Titanium Mahomes.
Vibranium Mahomes.
Vibranium, yes. Yes.
Kryptonite Mahomes, you know.
Or Valerian Mahomes.
I've no idea. Do you know what, actually? What I could quite conceivably, what I could see happening, you've had his dad as Pat Mahomes. You've got him as Patrick Mahomes. What about a Paddy Mahomes?
I'll be down with that, yeah. Shelley?
I don't know. It's funny, isn't it? Because I feel like, so I've got a boy and a girl, and my girl is older. She's 13, and the boy is 5. And I think if we'd have had 2 girls, would we maybe have tried for a boy? But because we've had one of each, we weren't going to have any more. So I wonder, now they're going to have a girl and a boy.
Yeah.
Will that be it for them? I don't know. Brittany seems really maternal. Obviously, just from sat here and looking at her Twitter and whatever. But she seems like a great mom. She seems like she's somebody who might want to have loads of kids. Maybe they might have their own American football team. Let's just keep these kids coming, So in terms of names, I don't know, because I think Sterling's quite an unusual name. Doesn't seem to be like a classic name, and I don't know if that's just because we're Brits, but that seems to be quite an out there sort of name. So I don't know, maybe
sterling, isn't it? You see?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, exactly. Oh,
this one's going to be called Dollar.
Penny. There you go.
Penny.
Yeah.
You Mahomes.
Money Mahomes. There you go.
Money Mahomes.
Yeah.
Make money.
I think they should name the next boy King
Mahomes.
King Mahomes. Got a ring to it.
Okay. Yeah. We have so many questions, so I got to keep it moving a little bit. Chiefs for Eternity at 2010 Camaro Gal, and I'm going to direct this at you, Shelley, because I'm not sure if us boys can answer this. Why doesn't Kelsey love me the way I love him? For real, I wonder if he thinks all us for him are nuts.
So, I think he's too busy loving me. Is the answer really? That's all I've got to say.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, he is fantastic, isn't he? Like their New Heights podcast, I've got so much love for both him and Jason Kelsey. They're all right, of course they're attractive men, Mama Kelsey did a good job there, but they've got that personality, they're funny, they seem really genuine, really kind. So yeah, I think he's obsessed with me. I think that's what the problem is.
You didn't blank him then, did you not?
I wouldn't blank him.
Yeah, well answered.
I have a question for you guys. This is from me. Question for my co-host. Okay, let me dial it back just a little. Recently, we had heard that the boys on the team were playing Modern Warfare together. Okay, that's the preface. So what do you think Kelsey, Mahomes, Juju, and MVS have as their Xbox, PS5 online profile names? So like you're online, you're playing Call of Duty, and you see like Patty McGoat, and it's really him. Like what do you think their names are for their online bars?
I think we've already got Money Mahomes. I think that's probably what Mahomes will be.
Yeah, probably.
It might be Killer Trav. I think for Kelsey. I don't know.
Possibly. I think it would be, if it was me, I would just link it to my Twitter handle, to be honest. It makes it easier. Everything's easier. Just use the same names for everything. That's yeah, just do that. But I think that's what I reckon they might do. Use their own.
Do you think?
Try and add them, Brad. Find out.
Try and add them. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah.
Do you think maybe they might try to keep it like secret though, like so people don't just know? Oh, hey, there's Patrick freaking Mahomes.
Yeah, probably.
Can you imagine if you were in a lobby though, and you were it was just you, and there was all of these Chiefs players in there? Can you imagine?
Sudden you hear like, "Hey man, I just got your ass." Patrick Mahomes killed.
And as I go mute.
Yeah, you're just blanking them, Brad. No.
Hey, Brad, how you doing? Mute.
Hell yeah.
Mike237, that's also his handle. What is the funniest question you have received in the streets of UK about the NFL, assuming that whatever you're wearing gets somebody to ask you that question? Like, what's a weird, funny question somebody's just came up to you and been like, hey, you got Chief stuff on, and then they ask you something weird or funny?
Somebody asked me last night if I was wearing an Arizona shirt.
Ooh.
I'd laugh. All I could do is just laugh. I thought,
what?
I was like, all I could do is laugh. Are you joking me? Arizona shirt.
That's crazy.
Clearly, you know nothing about American football. And then I say somebody calling our savior cojones. It's not a question as such. It was a statement. But
that's his online. Mahomes.
That's could be it. Yeah, cojones Mahomes. That's probably about as funny as I've got with that. I mean, normally you get people who kind of giving you these kind of quizzical looks, or they're asking you questions genuinely about it. They either say nothing or ask you something because they're interested. In terms of the amusing things, it's that kind of mispronunciation and that misdiagnosis of the shirt and things. People maybe thinking they know a little bit about American football and they probably seen a clip of it once and that's it. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I get. Don't know about you guys.
I don't think I've ever really had a question. You get that little not knowing nod or the little glance or whatever. I think it's interesting for me because we have a shop here. I don't know if you have it in America called Primark. No, so it's they do sort of cheaper clothing and that kind of thing. And they started doing some NFL stuff, and it started really with Raiders and Patriots, and now they've branched out. So there's a few Chiefs bits, and you can get some Green Bay things in there. So whenever you see somebody, I always think, now, are you wearing that because you got it from Primark, or are you wearing that because you're a fan? So not that I would ever go up to somebody and start going like, hey, are you really a fan of the NFL? Now you have to talk to me. But I wonder whether it's just something they've picked up at Primark or whether it's because they support that team.
Yeah. No, the only strange thing I've been asked is I actually found or was asked by now it was Redskins when he said it, but obviously it's the Washington Commanders now. But he was actually doing a garden down the road, and I was walking past with my Chiefs hoodie on, and he basically said, he says, "Oh, another bandwagon fan, another bandwagon Chiefs fan." He had no idea that I've been to Arrowhead, I've been to the Super Bowl, we watched them, I've done all of this, and I was like nodding, yeah, well, whatever. And anyway, as I walked past, he shouted something, I can't remember what it was, and he was like, "Oh, he's got nothing." So anyway, when I came back, I showed him all the photos of like where I'd been and everything, and he kind of ate a humble pie after that, but he was actually quite knowledgeable. I think he's been a Washington Commanders fan for a lot of years, so he was quite knowledgeable. It was good chatting with him, and I actually bumped into Chris, Durham Chief UK there on a walk once, just walking past his house, and he was like, "You're a Chiefs fan?" I was like, "You're a Chiefs fan?" Yeah, it was weird finding somebody who was like literally in close proximity, and we just, we spoke for about how many hours after that?
Oh, God.
My wife and kids went home, and
I
was
still gone. We stood outside. It was getting dark, and we were talking. I was painting.
Wasn't it? Yeah. So it's unusual. Like you said, you do get some very strange looks sometimes off people, or sometimes you'll like Shelley says, you'll get a knowing nod, and sometimes you can really hit it off with people just chatting about it, you know, no matter who they are. I mean, I've never really seen or found a knowledgeable Patriots fan yet.
They don't exist.
No, they always have a Brady 12 jersey, and you think he still plays for them.
Yeah. Or even worse, a Gronkowski jersey.
Oh God, yeah.
The amount of times that I've messaged Brad and said, "This damn advert, if I see it again," commercials and things with Gronk in them.
Yeah.
But I'm not a member. Give it a rest, please, please.
It doesn't even make sense, man. Why is he like promoting that? I don't. That's a weird celebrity endorsement, man. For real.
Don't know. It's unusual.
I don't obviously I don't have the same experiences as you guys, but like I live in a town full of bandwagon fans. Like seriously, like I go to work, I got Saints fans, I got Packers fans, I got Cowboys, Raiders, just you name it, and they're just nobody is very supportive of the local team. I know it's not exactly super local because they're 2.5 hours away, but like man, it's frustrating at times. So anytime I see anybody on the street wearing Chiefs gear, I chop it up or hey, I like your shirt, I like your jersey, whatever. So that is nice. So there are more of us. They're growing in numbers, but let's see here. This is actually one of the original mailbag questionnaires, if you will. Eric on Wheels. I went back and watched one of my very first YouTube mailbag episodes, and he was like the first one to ever ask me anything. So thank you, Eric. Eric on Wheels. What's your favorite type of ice cream, and do they have the same flavors in England as the U.S.?
Gelato is my favorite. Has to be gelato. Not just ice cream, gelato. It has to be gelato. I don't know what's different in it. I don't know if it's like mascarpone or something like that in it or whatever, but
I think it's got more cream.
Yeah.
I'm the most boring person in the world, but I watched this. I'm sure Jamie Oliver told me about this, that there's more cream. I think. I might be making it up, but I think that's what it is. That's what it tastes better.
But it just tastes a lot better. I mean, I don't know if you ever had it, but the best ice cream I've ever had was actually when I was on a trip on holiday to Scarborough, of all places, a little kind of UK beach over here. And we walked up to the Scarborough Castle, and there was an ice cream van just there, and it was selling Brymore ice cream. I'd never known it before, and it was Jaffa Cake flavor ice cream, and it's the best ice cream I've ever had. It was like a gelato one as well. It was like a chocolate, but it had like, oh man, it's so nice, and it had like little orange bits in. Oh, it's beautiful.
Wow,
so nice, so nice. I had to have two.
The very. You say you're boring, Shelley. I'm going to be controversial here, but I absolutely detest ice cream.
What?
I hate it. I hate ice cream. I really do. I don't really like cake either. It's weird. I mean, I don't know. It might sound mad, but it just go with me here, right? Maybe you understand, maybe you don't. But what I like is
Like, what do you have on your birthday? Like in America, if it's your birthday,
Brussels sprouts.
This will mean nothing to you, Corey, but somebody I know once someone had a birthday cake made because they don't really like cake. It was peas pudding, the whole cake.
Peas pudding? No way.
It was a cake, with a candle in it. But for me, what do I do? I'll have a tiny bit of cake, but it's more for everybody else that you get a birthday cake. So I just have a tiny slither, and that's about it. But in terms of why I don't like it, if you get get a cup of coffee, you drink your coffee. It's quite thick, isn't it? And almost like coats your mouth a little bit. When you have a cup of tea, it's really it doesn't. It's kind of clean. It's watery.
You're so British, thick. Chris. You're so British.
I know. Honestly, it's that I get the same thing. Ice cream and cake do the same thing. That coat in your mouth, feeling thick. I don't like it. So
it's a textural thing.
Well, no, the fact it's also really cold as well. I just think. I just don't.
That's true.
I mean,
put it in a microwave, mate.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, it's just cream, isn't it? Do you want some ice cream? No, give me a jug of cream, will you? Or a jug of milk. That'll do me, thanks. I think what I do like though, I like sorbet because that again, it's like clean cut kind of flavor.
Yeah,
it's not like a thick thing, is it? Yeah, it's probably that. It probably is then texture, to be honest, Shelley.
Harry Hill just scored another touchdown.
I thought you said Harry Hill.
No, Tyreek Hill's just scored another touchdown, I think.
Has he? Oh,
no.
Oh, he has. He has. There'll be no living with him after this.
2,000-yard season coming. Yeah.
I can't believe that way. Aaron Rodgers just threw an interception on 4th and goal. 0-0, beginning of the second. 0.
Oh no. I don't want to go downstairs now. I don't want to hear about what's been going on.
Oh, it was beautiful as well. It was beautiful.
Oh, have you got Red Zone on behind you?
I've got it on there, yeah.
No. 2 channels I can watch. Like over here, you're just going to get CBS and Fox unless you pay for Red Zone or whatever. I've got it on cable. But yeah, you're just kind of subjected to 2 noon games and then one 3:30 game on Fox, and then Sunday Night Football, obviously. So I've been trying not to pay too close attention, but I did see that they were,
Wait, it was a floater as well. He floated it over the. It was.
Oh yeah, bad.
Oh, he's got no zip about it, hasn't he?
Sorry.
Yes, we digress.
I have a question for you guys. I got to thinking about this. I know that you guys probably have like a McDonald's over there and some fast food chains. What are some fast food American chains that you would like to see over there that you do not have? I mean, is that something that you think about? I mean, I couldn't say if it was something from the UK necessarily that I would even know it existed, but what would you like to have come over there?
So today I had a real hankering for chicken wings. Really wanted some chicken wings. And when you get chicken wings in the UK, they tend to be like this, like tiny little things, and when you guys are on the adverts or whatever, or people are putting pictures of their food on, your chicken wings are enormous. It's like a meal in itself. So I would like somewhere that you can get decent chicken wings from, because I don't know about you guys, but I think when you manage to get chicken wings in the UK, it's like they are absolutely blow your mind spicy. That seems to be the one flavor that they come in. There's no buffalo, there's no barbecue, there's no ranch, nothing like that. It's just tiny little, absolutely mind-blowingly atomic heat wings. That's really all we get.
Yeah.
No Popeye's chicken, Louisiana?
No, there's nothing like that.
Is Popeyes coming to the UK? I'm sure we heard somewhere that they were going to open some Popeyes over here.
Probably in London. We'll get it in 2040, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I was really, really surprised to see the other day? I was looking because I thought I've got a real hankering for one of these days. I want to go to Taco Bell. I didn't realize there's about 66 Taco Bell restaurants in the UK.
Yeah, we've got Taco Bell here.
Yeah,
completely honestly. Oh, what in your bedroom? I thought you were going to get it then. We've got Taco Bell over here.
We've got Taco Bell.
Here's what I made earlier.
I mean, maybe it's just me. I sound like all I do is eat, isn't it? But things were really small, I thought. Like the portions weren't very big, and it was quite a lot.
The tacos, yeah.
Well, some of them you cut with the taquitos. I think the little ones.
Maybe I ordered the wrong thing.
Well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But maybe, I think some of them are designed kind of, you have a few, like almost like tapas, I think. But, they're not kind of what we think as a taco here. This big, massive thing like that, You take a bite and the whole thing explodes and it's everywhere on the plate. The corn shell ones, I hate those. The soft tacos, that's what I want. But the other two that Brad will tell you that many times I've sent him a message, you in commercials saying, "Oh my God."
I know what you're gonna say.
I want that, I want something like I want Chipotle. Really want Chipotle. I want Olive Garden over here as well. Some of their salads look massively stacked and look beautiful. And I can't really think of other ones, but yeah, there's loads I would want over here. I'd probably end up having a heart attack. I would. I think I'd probably have a heart attack going to eating at all these places.
The one that I really would like, but I don't think it's classed as a fast food, is I want a barbecue joint over here, which is Q39. I definitely want Q39 after being over there and sampling all of the barbecues. Yeah. The one thing I didn't have was Joe's. And I feel I could kick myself because I really need to go back and sample some Joe's. But Q39's burnt end sandwich, man, it was like it just melted in your mouth. It was beautiful. I'm making myself hungry now. Really am.
Yeah, I'm having a salad after this. No, I don't want it.
Yeah. But there's also I always get hungry from the Arby's adverts from the NFL game.
Oh yeah.
We have meats, whatever it is. Yeah. So Yeah. Arby's.
We're going to Florida over Easter, so I've already got we're staying on International Drive, so obviously there's all the restaurants and everything along there. So I've already looked at where the hotel is and what is around and all of the places that we're going to go to. So I'll come back and be like a good 10 stone heavier.
Jealous.
Jealous.
Do you guys have like, is it normal to have pizza over there? Do you have any pizza restaurants?
Pizza Hut.
Yeah, we have a Domino's. We have Domino's and
Domino's.
Stuff. Yeah.
I know that's one thing you see on the commercials. Nobody out pizzas the Hut. You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've
Papa
got pizza.
John's.
We've had Pizza Hut for years.
Papa John's as well. We've got Papa John's. Well, very select places we've got Papa John's.
Big one over here. There's a Pizza Express. Whether you guys get that in the US, I don't know. But Pizza Express is a big one. A chain.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But there's.
Yeah,
but
Brad,
there's a lot you guys have, and we need it over here.
Definitely
over here.
So
that's why we had Brexit. That's why we had Brexit. We want more. We want more American foods over. That's why.
Never mind. That's where the real trade agreement's at. You know,
exactly.
Let's talking about these exports. So what you can export is your food. Give us your outlets.
Come over here.
That's what we want. Yeah, exactly. Obvious ones, KFC and McDonald's and Burger King. We've got those. Subway. You know, they're common ones over here that we've had over here for years. But
okay. Chris Standing 2 is his handle. If each of you, including Tori, played in the NFL, what position would you play and why? I'll let you guys think about this for a second. I would go with quarterback. And I would be an absolute statue. I have no athletic ability, but I think if I train myself hard enough, if I work out enough, if I study the game, I've got a decent arm, and that's about all I got. So hopefully I have a great offensive line and I don't get murdered.
Yeah.
I think I would be a wide receiver. We've been talking about how tall Patrick Mahomes is, and I am minuscule. I mean, I am 5 foot, you know, really super small. So I think I'd be able to escape, and I'd be able to, you know, open up the field and just whip behind everybody. So I think that's where I would be.
Shelley Hill.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I was saying Tyreek.
Yeah, no, I think I'd be. Well, I did dabble at cornerback, and it was very difficult corner. So I'd probably want to plug for backup kicker, so I can just sit on the bench and get all the money.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think with me, I've answered this question before actually. I can't on another show. I can't recall what I answered, but now I would say running back. I used to be, not so much anymore, as you know, you get a little bit older, but when I was in what would be the equivalent of your high school, I think it is, I was about, at the time I would have been about 13, 14-year-old. I could run the 100 meters in 13 seconds flat. So I was extremely quick, nimble, agile. I played rugby for a while as well, so that it kind of came to the fore on the rugby field as well. I was able to get between people quite easily. I was quick to turn, maneuver either way. So yeah, I would try that, and let's see what got on with being a running back. But probably would get flattened by some kind of linebacker or something like that. Just get through the offensive or the defensive line and smack straight to a linebacker. Stay. Okay.
Okay. It's Chiefs season at I am NRG. Energy. Yeah. Okay. Do you all drink Aspel cider? Is it the best in the UK? He's got a few questions, so I'll just stop right there. You drink Aspel cider, and is it the best? Okay.
Yes, I do drink some Thatchers.
What is?
Yeah, I do drink some Aspel sometimes. I find for me one of my favourites is a cider called Old Rosie, which is a cloudy cider. And it's strong,
like 9% as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like your proper kind of vintage. It's lovely. I love that.
I'm not a massive fan of cider, to be fair. I have had Aspel before, but I'm not. I don't know. I find it a bit sweet. Some of the cloudy ones, like you said, Chris, they're quite nice because they're a bit less sweet. But I'm not a massive fan of cider, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not my go-to drink, really. It's mainly whiskey, which I drink, but it has to be Scottish as well. Can't be Irish. I don't like the Irish whiskey for some reason. It has to be Scottish.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Yeah, it's crap. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my word. That was just literally sounded like Shrek.
It was Mike Myers on SNL, dude.
An American doing a Scottish accent. Mike Myers sounds like Shrek.
Not Scottish, it's crap.
It's crap.
Yeah.
He also said, "What's your favorite Indian food to eat during Chiefs games?"
Well, we've got to start with Shelley with this one, but
Favorite Indian food?
While you're eating or while you're watching a Chiefs game, he said, "Yeah."
Okay. I mean, for me, I don't very often eat Indian food while I'm watching a Chiefs game because the Chiefs games tend to be prime time. So, you know, not eating
1 a.m.
food at 1 a.m. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that if I was going to samosas, brilliant snack. You know, I think that is where I'd go with Indian food. I am a real fan of paneer. If I'm going with my favorite kind of Indian food, anything with paneer in it is amazing. So maybe some nice kind of tandoori paneer skewers or something like that, or samosas.
Oh yeah. I think I'd go. I think I'd go with probably a macaroni or something. Maybe samosas definitely have some of those. Or onion bhajis. Maybe some onion pilau as well. So my breath will be smelling lovely.
Garlic pilau. Got to be garlic pilau.
Yeah.
Keema naan. With something
Peshwari
not
naan's
too
nice.
spicy. Yeah, something maybe it's not too spicy. So kind of I'll go a little bit boring for this one. Maybe it's got kind of tikka masala, curry, beer. You know, they go together really well. But I think the basic or the go-to thing for me would be a load of dips and pickles, like raised there, the mango chutney with a load of poppadoms, just like almost like tacos. Tortillas and things like that.
Yeah, but very big like that, aren't they?
Yeah. I would just break them all up and then start getting all the pickles on it and things, and that. It'd just be like sitting there with your nachos, isn't it? That's what I was trying to think of. Nachos. And
like that.
Stuff. It would be an Indian version of the nachos. That'd be for me.
I've never had Indian food.
You've never had Indian food?
What you guys are talking about right now? I mean, I don't know.
So do you have like Indian restaurants over there?
Yes.
Or you do have them?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I believe so. I think so, yeah.
Because we have
Just
loads.
not a fan of spice.
We got like Thai restaurants, you know.
Yeah, we've got
my family are Indian, so we get everything homemade really. You know, it was Diwali in October, so we just had so much food everywhere. It was amazing, and it's always better homemade than it is from a restaurant or from a takeaway.
I agree.
I know, honestly, it sucks. You're getting homemade Indian food, and we're having to order some kind of like decent takeaway, but you know,
yeah,
it's not as good as this. Like having my mother
homemade stuff's best. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Are there any American football pubs in London? That was his last question.
London.
Yeah, there's the Hippodrome.
Yeah.
Well, it's a casino, really. Is the Hippodrome.
Is it all encompassing like NFL?
You normally get a spike in a lot of places hosting a game when the Super Bowl's on. They seem to really gear it up for the Super Bowl parties and stuff. They don't seem to have it for regular season. There's some places that do it. I know in Newcastle, we used to go to Shark Bar quite a bit, which is literally just across the road from St James's Park, Newcastle United Stadium. And they have it on until about 12, and then they close up. So it's not very good for the early morning games because you get kicked out.
Prime time games.
Yeah, you know, prime time games and everything at 1:20 or whatever. They kick you out before then. But the food's quite good there as well. It's quite American style foods, which is good. So you kind of get a good flavour of it. But yeah, it's mainly Super Bowl parties, I think, for us really over here. But like I said, the Hippodrome Casino, some casinos seem to have them on. The Hippodrome has a really big room with about 4 or 5 screens all kind of right in a semicircle in the room and everything. Yeah. And you've got all the different games on. You've got Red Zone on and everything. It's it's good because you get all sorts of people there who are just really passionate about the game. Well, they're clearly passionate about it if they're watching it, during the season, down at the casino. So it's good. It's good atmosphere.
Yeah, there's Belushi's as well. We went there when we went to the London Games, and they did a fantastic job of really getting all the NFL fans together. That was brilliant. In where I live, there's a bar called the Locker Room, and I don't know if that's a standalone thing or if it's the chain, but they tend to be American sports bars. So they'll have the NFL on, they'll play the Super Bowl, and they've got TVs next to the tables in like little booths, so you can ask them to put whatever it is that you want to watch on, and they'll put it on. We went there when we were watching the Super Bowl last year, and yeah, like Brad was saying, they do wings and they do American snacks and that kind of thing. So I think rather than being American football focused, you tend to get American sports, and then they'll have baseball on and basketball and whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's I mean, was he asking because he specifically was going to London, or sorry, were they asking? I don't know whether it was a male or female, but they've got bars all over the UK, to be honest. We know they've got them in Scotland. We know that one of the guys from Arrowheads Abroad, our group, just recently found one that he didn't know was around the corner from him in Birmingham. So they're everywhere. They're all over. There's places you can find. But if you're going specifically for London, give those two a try, and outside of that, Google to see what you can find. It's always a good place. I find to Google things. You'll always find somebody who's willing to kind of give shout outs to places.
Yeah, to the American audience listening or watching this, if you're not aware, I mean, there are physically like Chiefs centric bars all across the country. There's Don's Club Tavern in Denver, Colorado. It's a Chiefs bar. There's the world famous Big Charlie Saloon in Philadelphia. So yeah, they're all over the United States. It's crazy. Chiefs Kingdom is everywhere. Jimmy McGill at BBJKC. Okay. When the Chiefs come across the pond, where's the best places to stay? So if the Chiefs come over there, where should this guy hang out at?
Durham.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, one of those things that if you quite happily would travel 2.5 hours, Corey, 2.5 hours from Wembley is an example where, the Chiefs would probably end up playing if they came over for a game. In 2.5 hours, you could get up to, on a train, you could get up to pretty much where myself and Brad live in the northeast of England. Less than that time, you can get to where Shelley is, probably about, an hour's drive, Leicestershire.
About an hour on the train, yeah, it's not far.
Yeah. But we're going to say the north because, northern people, we're a friendly people.
We're friendlier, yeah.
We're great. But to be honest, you're probably going to be within, or want to be within, about an hour of London, don't you? So there's it depends whether you want that kind of good old kind of what you think is the stiff upper-lipped kind of aristocratic experience, or something where you've got stately homes and leafy suburbs, the likes of Surrey and out in Berkshire and places like that, over to Ascot for horse racing and things, or whether you want to go down to a beachside place and have some fun, like Brighton, Brighton nice. Beach, down by that, arcades, amusements, those kind of things, or you've got your typical kind of sightseers, touristy thing of staying in London itself, haven't you? But yeah.
I think you've got to see London, haven't you? You've got to see London, I think, is
if it's your first time, at least, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to see all the sights and everything there. Because London, I mean, the first time I ever went down there, you just realise how steeped in history it is. I mean, there's so much history in London. There's more than in London than there is in America and in the entire country. So it's, what's that?
We're not
somebody live in Basra. What's that? Is it you, Shelley? Is that where it's coming from?
It's been bonfire night.
Bonfire night, so, yeah.
I know you don't have that in America, but we set off fireworks, and there are, I think somewhere near here must be having a display, because honestly, I'm not being bombed. It's just try not to panic. Don't send help. It's fine.
She lives in the Ukraine, really. It's like.
But yeah, so it's just because it's bonfire night, or it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of bonfire night over there, Corey?
No, I have no idea. I mean, every time I see Shelley post stuff, I'm like, I have no idea what is happening, and I don't want to bother her about all these things. Like, I should be more educated. My favorite thing about being friends with all three of you is the learning process. Like, I'm learning about the rest of the world. You know, I live in this very conservative red area, and it's kind of like, you know, they just don't seem to really care about the rest of the planet, if you will. You know, so focused on ourselves, and yeah, we got problems and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm like even just watching what was it, Captain Marvel, the Disney Plus show, just learning more about Indian culture. Like, I really enjoyed that. So I'm trying to learn as I go. I'm a work in progress.
It's funny. I mean, when you're over there, you do get asked a lot of questions when you're over there.
Just hear you speak and hear the accent.
Yeah, they hear you.
Say this for me, please.
Yeah, they instantly say, "Talk to my wife," and you're like, "What's supposed to say to your wife?"
Look at all these pictures, you know.
Yeah. And so a lot of the time, people are really interested, especially when you're in Kansas City, because with it being a flyover state, a lot of people are like, "Why are you here? What are you here for?" And we say, "Well, we're Chiefs fans." And like, "How have you heard about the Chiefs?" Well, you know, we watch TV.
we don't live in a cave, you know.
Don't give away everything, Brad, because we got a question.
All right, okay.
Yeah, shut up, Brad. Stop. Hey, sorry.
Well, let's dive into the next question. Garrett Cox at Moxie Coxie 24. I'm sure you all have been asked this multiple times, but I'd love to hear you guys really talk about how and why you became Chiefs fans while living in the UK, and I could probably tell you Brad's verbatim.
Brad's limbering up. Look, he's ready.
I'll sit this one out.
No. You have to tell. You have to. This guy hasn't heard it. You must.
All right. I'll try and keep it short. It was basically by accident. I used to watch the Super Bowls quite often, and I never kind of understood how the teams got to the Super Bowls. What was it all about? You know what? I didn't know all the teams. I thought there was about 8 teams in the entire thing. And then when I opened my mind a bit more, and I realized there was like 32 teams, and there's all sorts of season games going on. There's playoff knockout games going on and everything like that. I really kind of got into it. And it was just by accident. I was watching an NFL show one night, and it was a story about Marcus Allen at the Raiders. And it was the last 5 minutes of that was talking about his turbulent time with the Raiders and his fallouts with the owner and everything. And he went to this weird sounding team called the Kansas City Chiefs, and he wanted revenge on his old team, the Raiders. And I love that. I love like revenge movies and stuff. So it was like instantly I was like, that's the revenge story I really enjoyed, because I think he won about 8 games out of 9 or something when he played the Raiders when he was on the Chiefs team. So I was completely hooked on that. But then the following one was all about Derek Thomas. And I was like, that's just cemented it for me, because it was just, it was such an emotional story about Derek Thomas and his time at the Chiefs. And obviously we all know what happened to him. But yeah, that was it. After that, it just, I just had to know more about the team. I had to know, as soon as I found out that it was, Lamar Hunt was the one who kind of created the Super Bowl, he created the AFL, and I was like, this is the team. And when I found out they ate the barbecue, nailed on.
Yeah. Go on, Shelley. I'll let you go next. For me.
So I'm still pretty new, really. I've always been aware of the Super Bowl. Some weird event that takes place at like 4 o'clock in the morning. What's that about? But we've never watched it until we were in lockdown. And obviously, without having to go to work, I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity to not have to get up the next morning. Let's give it a go. And it was the Chiefs and the Bucks. And I fell in love watching the Chiefs. I thought Patrick Mahomes is so charismatic, so much fun to watch. And I know that, the Chiefs got destroyed in that game. But even so, they were the more likable side. And really the rest is history. From there, I then, found myself wanting to watch the Chiefs when they were playing. My husband decided that he was going to support the Green Bay Packers. He really looked into it and was like, oh, this is the way that I'm going to go. And I just couldn't get the Chiefs out of my head. So even though I don't think he was happy.
I would TIVORCE.
Yeah.
Go
so
with.
even though we both enjoy watching American football, you know, I think having that dimension of having two teams that are followed in this household, it is really good, and it gives us, you know, more games to watch and more things to look at and think about. And with the Green Bay Packers, obviously turbulent times, so yeah, you know, I'm forever trying to get him to come over to the Chiefs, but it's not working.
Yeah, mine was kind of back in 2003. I thought, you know, I started to feel very, very much more like I should have been an American myself. Everything I kind of watch and do and kind of interests, a lot of them kind of center around the US. And I started watching US sports. I actually couldn't get into basketball at all. You know, it didn't interest me. Ice hockey was a bit similar. I thought, oh, it's just not for me. Baseball, I thought was okay, actually. I didn't mind baseball. But then the American football, and I think the fact that being a former rugby player as well, the similarities between the two sports, kind of in luck, and that's about where it ends, really. But yeah, there are some similarities, and it's just, I was looking for a team to support almost and kind of get behind. And this, you know, this kind of little, well, this guy called Larry Johnson just looked sensational to me. Absolutely sensational. Pounding the rock. He looked brilliant. And as a little aside, the other big contributing factor is that as a kid, I absolutely loved The Wizard of Oz. And then the fact that she comes from Kansas City, it was almost like that and Larry Johnson. You know, so thank Wizard of Oz, Larry Johnson, ergo Chiefs fan.
All right. Let's do one last question. This one's going to be for me off the top of my head. If you could describe being a Chiefs fan in one sentence, what would that be? I'll give you time to think about it. I'm going to say mine first. I got to thinking about this a few minutes ago. Okay. Derek Thomas had 7 sacks in one game, and the Chiefs lost. That describes like 30 years of Chiefs fandom for me.
Yeah.
Highs and lows.
You want me to go? I'm going.
Yeah, I don't have mine yet.
I would say wear your scars with pride. We've had a lot of scars over the years, and Chiefs Kingdom is very much the most loyal fan base, I believe, from waiting 50 years for a Super Bowl, having all that hurt, all that pain. I think scars, wear them with pride is mine, I think.
Nice.
Okay. I think I've kind of got one, really, that patience is a virtue, and you know, there's been lows and even more lows, but with patience comes reward, and now we're seeing the highs and the highs and the highs.
Beat that, Shelley.
Do you know what? I think with the Chiefs is that lovely line from Finding Nemo always comes to mind. Just keep swimming, you know. Honestly, everybody is always so quick to write off the Chiefs, aren't they? You know, right. Every time a mistake is made, that's it. Patrick Mahomes has lost it, and they just carry on doing their thing. You know, they don't need to talk about it. They don't need to prove anything to anybody. They just keep swimming. And yeah, I think it's amazing.
I'm going to change my answer to we have a Mahomes and you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, good one.
This has been super awesome. But before we get off of here, like, tell us where we can find you guys online, and if you have anything at all you want to promote, whatever that is, give it a go. Give it a whirl. Shelley?
So you can find me at Arrows and Cheese. I am also 1/4 of the amazing Kingdom's Queens. So you can find us at Kingdom's Queens every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. We have our podcast where we chat Chiefs, we chat NFL. You know, I'm so lucky to work with 3 of the most fantastic women, and they are so knowledgeable and so wonderful. So please check us out if you can. And yeah, thank you so much, Corey. It's been great.
Say hi to Chrissy for me. I like Chrissy.
Yeah, impossible to not like Chrissy, right?
Yeah, she's lovely. She's lovely.
So
yeah.
Lovely, yeah.
She got really emotional on the last one, didn't she?
She did. Oh, with all of the lovely videos, I know. Gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Chris.
Sorry, I completely forgot to do my bit. I forgot that I'd been invited to do it. And I kind of said, where's my invite? You know, just check your DMs. And I thought, oh.
Yeah, you had one.
I did get an invite and I completely forgot about it. It was so bad. Earn that loss and own it. So yeah, I did. For me, well, it just put an at in front of the name there, at Durham Chief UK. I kind of stole a little bit from Brad there, the idea, but you know, that's the way it works. You know, I guess you look up to these big wigs with the blue ticks that Brad doesn't have.
I don't have one.
Maybe should have one, but he doesn't have one just yet.
Don't set me off, Chris.
Please. And no, I won't. And if you look at right? KC Chiefs. You can, yeah, you can.
I'm not paying for one.
Yeah, also check out Arrowheads Abroad. You know, Brad was initially one of the kind of early, kind of onset, or one of the early cohort of Arrowheads Abroad. Moved on a little bit to Arrowhead Pride with Tom Childs, but they do a great job. The guys, you know, we do most weeks podcasts, write articles for them. Check them out. You know, we've got quite a decent following, this nice international fan base. But it's what's it? KC Chiefs _UK is the Arrowheads Abroad handle. So
just one thing to shout out for Arrowheads Abroad as well is they are now the most or the highest kind of followed fan-led NFL account on Twitter at the moment. So yeah, only the Jags beat them, but the Jags already own that UK one. So it's really good. Yeah, you can find me on Arrowhead Pride. I do the Great British Chief Show every Wednesday at the moment, which is good. Probably change at the end of the season. It might be, you know, whichever days, whatever, where we fit in with the schedule. But it's myself and Tom Childs. We've been part of Arrowheads Abroad for the UK fan group for a good few years, and that's where we started off. And we've been fortunate enough to, you know, to kind of work for Arrowhead Pride and do our thing with them. It's been really good. It's been such a roller coaster of emotions as well. It's been phenomenal to work with people like, you know, like Corey on his content on Facebook and, you know, on YouTube and Twitter and everything like that. It's really good, and it's nice that we all have this community. I think it's really good, and it gives us all a bit more of an outlet, doesn't it, to have a chat about Chiefs and have a chat about the NFL. It's really good.
And you never know, you could win an Emmy for it, right?
Again, very fortunate. Yeah, very fortunate.
Oh, you guys are the best, man. Seriously, I've had the best time ever. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the podcast. And as always, let's go Chiefs.
Chiefs.